Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, and host of the ever-popular Ken Coleman Show, is my guest, my co-host today here on the air. We'll be answering your questions about life and money. Ken's area of specialty is always around career, so if you're looking for a new job, you hate your Mondays, this is your guy. He can help you with that. His book is the Proximity Principle, and we'll be talking some about that as we go throughout the day. But here to take your questions, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Andrew is in Atlanta to start off this hour. Hi, Andrew. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I am in my sophomore year at Kennesaw College, going into my junior year, and I am lucky enough that I'll be able to graduate debt-free. And right now, between a CD, stock markets, and my personal savings account, I have about $15,000, and I'm wondering how can I grow that growth and prepare myself for when I get out of college.
Well done, sir. What's your degree in?
So I'm double majoring in both professional sales and in marketing.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I walked through that campus not long ago. We were down there doing some speaking in the area, and I went for a walk and ended up on the campus and walked through all of it. It's beautiful. Great little college.
Yeah, it's really blown up over the past few years.
Yeah, very cool. Good for you. Well done. And great job on the money stuff. So I think you've got a pretty good mix. You've got some in savings, you got some in investing, and you're going to come out and start your career. And, that transition for housing and, whether you need to upgrade a car from your high school car or whatever. I don't know where you are on that. But you're going to use some of that cash, and a little bit of furniture, maybe something other than a beanbag chair from college. And, you're going to do a little bit of that kind of stuff, and that's okay. That's what having a nice pool of money coming out of college will do for you. You can transition much easier. So what's your career field? What are you going into?
So right now I have an in with a company called Gartner, and that's where I would really like to start my first job at. But as of Leeds, that's kind of the only one I'm having right now. I'm looking for an internship this summer, but I'm not sure. I feel like I have all this money sitting around and not sure what to do with it.
It's not being lazy. It's there for a pad. And it's there for it just gives you margin. It gives you the ability to make these transitions without having. Because let me tell you, if you're broke, you'll take any job. And oftentimes the wrong one, right, Ken?
That's exactly right. You don't want to be desperate. You're in a situation where you got a pretty good idea of the type of work you want to do and the type of company. So what you want to do is you want to get yourself some more options right now. I love that you want to intern. I think that's one of the best things that college students can do because it allows you to clarify and verify. And that's the process of getting in the actual field itself and rubbing shoulders, rubbing elbows with the professionals that are doing the work. What's it look like? What's it feel like day to day? And that's the clarify. And then as you begin to experience and immerse yourself in this field that you think you want to go into, by doing that, Dave, then the verify takes care of itself. Yeah. The head and the heart, the head's logic, and then the emotion of the heart to say, ding, 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 or and that process is really important. So I love the idea of interning, and then I would come up with 2 or 3 other company targets.
Yeah, you need more than one option.
So that you can start working the proximity principle. What relationships do I have that allow me to know somebody, just anybody in that building, to begin to learn more about the company's culture? That's another thing, Dave. We get this question a lot on the Ken Coleman Show. Lady called just in the last hour and said, how do I know? I'm leaving one state to go to another state. My current company's going to let me work remote for a while. I just can't be on my own. I want to work in an office environment, which I understand that. That's how I'm wired. She said, but I have such a great experience with the current company. How do I make sure that I don't get on board with another company and the culture's terrible? I said, well, that's easy. Start talking to people who know people who work there. Believe me, they'll tell you about their company, the good and the bad. Now, you got to learn how to parse that out and go, is this a disgruntled former employee? But you can do enough
former
research.
Employees, I wouldn't
you
even
don't talk to them.
They're former for a reason.
That's right. You want to talk to people who work there. You want to see what their vendors are saying about them. And you can find out that a company's healthy. It's not this big, giant, stick your finger in the air, and it's a big risk. There are ways to find out if a company has a healthy culture, and you talk to people who work there.
Just because somebody posts something on Glassdoor
doesn't mean
it's
a
right. There's no accountability of that at all.
Very careful of that.
No accountability on that at all. That's horrible.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we've had horrible experience with Glassdoor because people put stuff on there that they just make up.
Well, that's right.
And they have nothing to do with
every company's got people that have left and didn't like it.
I can promise you they have here.
That's absolutely. So you've got to talk to people who actually work there, and you're going to hear the right things. And then you go, okay, this is a healthy culture. And again, no culture is perfect. Stop making that an excuse. But I hear that a lot. People really scary. How do I know?
That's,
do your homework.
And here's the thing, interview.
Yes.
If you can get an in-person, and you can walk in a building, you can feel a vibe, you can feel the spirit of what's going on. Are these people all heads down and look like they're in a cult and they've got zone going through their eyes, or are they running around happy and high-fiving and getting work done and productive and looks like there's some giggling going on? I mean, that's what you get when you walk through here.
Oh, sure.
And so obviously it is not some kind of crazy, cult thing going on. That's just absolutely,
Yeah, well, what's great about this, people can say whatever they want about Ramsey Solutions. Then you can come here and actually walk through the building and experience it for less than 5 minutes, and you're going to find out really quick it doesn't match up to anything that you would have heard. And so that's true for folks that are listening today.
Learn for yourself is the point.
That's it.
Yeah.
Get the eyeball test.
Yelp had this problem when they first came out. They lost all credibility as a rating service because, the restaurant across the street would write a negative review on their competitor and anonymously and just make up crap.
Right.
And fill up the Yelp with all negative. Sure. And so they were not vetting their inputs. And so, it's like I told somebody this week, if the National Enquirer runs a story that that they interviewed an alien that Tom Cruise had sex with, does that make it true?
Exactly. Well, how many times has this happened to you, Dave? And I trust my friends and family members and coworkers here. But this has happened to me many times where someone has said, I didn't have a great experience at that restaurant. And it affects me. Yeah. And I say to Stacy, I go, well, I mean, so-and-so said, and I've had this conversation. I tell you what, I just really want to check it out for myself. And I go, and it's not that my friend or family member who had a different experience is wrong. It's their experience. It's through their perspective. It's through their lens. Maybe they didn't think the menu was any good, but I thought the menu was great. Or they didn't think the customer service was great, but my experience was great. Maybe it was a waiter that had a bad night, or maybe it was a doofus, hostess or whatever. Here's the whole point here that I'm making. Even though we may hear something, even when you go get feedback from people that you trust,
go walk it.
You have got to experience it. I want to go to the restaurant. I'll tell you what I think of the restaurant. I want to go to that company,
and then you're going to find out if the culture's right.
That's right.
So you don't have to be afraid about that.
No, it's not a mystery.
If you have your antennae up,
yes,
and you just walk around with a smile,
that's right,
and just be observant. If you can physically get to the company, I mean, these days, who the heck knows?
That's true.
If you can physically get in the presence, you'll get a spirit off of it.
That's exactly.
And you can trust that.
Yeah.
It's trustworthy.
That feeling.
It's trustworthy.
Yeah, it really is.
This is the Dave Ramsey Show.
Cliff and I joined Christian Healthcare Ministries because we really liked the concept of Christians sharing each other's burdens. And we really experienced that firsthand when Cliff was diagnosed with heart disease. It was just such a relief to know that financial burden was going to be taken care of.
CHM is the original and longest-serving health cost-sharing ministry. Get started today and check us out at chministries.org.
Thank you for joining us, America. Ken Coleman is here. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You can join him on just under 70 radio stations around America now carrying the Ken Coleman Show every day. And, of course, it's a podcast. It's on SiriusXM and everywhere else. You can go to kencoleman.com and download all kinds of helpful treats to help you get your resume looking right, to get your interview started, steps to the interview, the whole thing, everything about career. He's America's career coach. Sarah is with us in St. Louis. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
So I have a question. I graduated my undergrad degree, debt-free, and I'm currently working on a law degree, paying as I go and working full-time so that I can graduate debt-free.
Great.
But I'm also contributing to my 401k, and I'm doing the full 15% of my paycheck, and my company has a good match. I've seen some articles online that seem to make it appear that the new administration doesn't look favorably on 401ks and wants to possibly, diminish them. So I'm wondering if I should do anything with the 401k that I have now.
No. I have not seen that trend by anything credible, but I have no idea what the Biden administration is going to do. And we do not have the benefit of checks and balances in that they can pass anything through a Senate Democratic Congress. So I don't know what they'll pass. I would think it would be very difficult and political suicide to screw with the largest wealth building tool in America, but who knows? These are strange times. So it doesn't mean, though, that I wouldn't put money into it in anticipation of some bizarre political event. And by the way, that would be the definition of a bizarre political event. For him to do that in years past would have been political suicide. Today, I don't even know what that means. But so I used to say things like, oh, no way, they would never do that. But I have no idea in this world right now what they're going to do. But I will continue to put money in my 401k until I have different information than I have today, which I don't have any information that's credible that makes me think it's one of the, Biden administration's top priorities to do away with America's primary wealth building tool.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on that. That would not be an overnight result. There would be some serious conversation about that and an uproar, to say the least. And so I don't think you need to be fearful at all. I agree with Dave on that. But yeah, I mean, get beyond that 401k. Here you are, you're off and running, and you're cash flowing, your education, you're going to do very, very well. And so begin to look at, the diversified plan that we teach here at Ramsey Solutions. Retire Inspired would be a great book for you at this stage, to begin to see what's the future look like and what are all the ways that I could prepare for the future. But no, don't be in a state of fear right now. And that's part of the problem, Dave, is I understand there's uncertainty for 75 million Americans. Let's just be really honest. You have a very divided country and an election that obviously all kinds of stuff going around it. And I can tell you this, I'm not a spring chicken, but I'm not an old man either. But I've been around enough to watch a lot of elections and a lot of change in power. And one thing that I just want to tell our audience, your side is not as pure as you think they are, and the other side's not as evil as you think they are either. So relax. You don't need to look to Washington, D.C. for your future. You don't. And stay the course, keep doing smart things, and don't freak out. Fear is never a great place to operate from.
Yeah, I can promise you this. If they do away with the 401k, we'll be here to help you figure out what to do.
That is true. We will be ready.
We'll show you what to do.
That is true.
And there's something to do. There's always something to do. There's always a way to do things. But I really, truly... I would be shocked and amazed, but I will caveat that with saying I have been shocked and amazed for years of what these characters will pull off on both sides of the aisle. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Tyler is in Abilene, Texas. Hey, Tyler, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Dave?
Great, man. How can we help?
My question for you today, I graduated college this December, probably the worst year I could imagine to graduate college. But
that would have been 1932, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just started a job. I got my bachelor's degree in youth ministry, got a job immediately after college, and I'm making pretty decent money. This January, I started the baby steps, and today I just finished my $1,000 emergency fund.
Great.
And my question for you is, as I start baby step 2, there's a couple things kind of in my life that are coming up that I don't know if I should pause baby step 2 to let these things happen or whether I should just go ahead and go with it. The 2 things that I'm really looking at is I'm getting married in June, and
Yay.
I also would like to end up doing my Mdiv in seminary as well. So I'm kind of looking at those 2 things right now as well.
How much debt have you got?
Let's see, I got about $2,000 on a credit card, $21,000 on a car, and $35,000 on my student loans.
And what are you making?
I'm making $44,000.
What's she make?
She's not making anything. She's in her last year of her undergrad, and she'll be a kindergarten teacher starting next August. So we imagine she'll make anywhere from $35,000 to $45,000, depending on the school district.
Why do you want the MDiv?
Well, for my job, it'd be a pretty decent pay raise, and really, I just really want the education mainly out of it.
Wait, your church gives raises based on your degree?
Well, on average, it makes it easier. The percentage goes up. The annual raise, the percentage will
at
go
your
up
church.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's unusual.
It is. The reason I ask the question is, and this is my position on all degrees, if it's the only way and if it's the best way, then we make that a huge priority. But in this situation, and there's nothing wrong with you wanting the MDiv. I think it's great that you want that further education. But I would not press pause, Dave, on the baby steps. I'd press pause on the MDiv. The MDiv will always be there.
Absolutely. I would wait until you need to get these dets cleaned up.
Yep.
I think with your combined income, you'll be able to clear these debts pretty quickly. I don't know what her debt was. We didn't get into that. But you have a $75,000, $80,000 household income. $85,000 somewhere in there, and you can attack these debts. And if a $23,000 car, which is ridiculous in your setting, is in your way between you and an Mdiv, sell it and move to a $5,000 car.
That's right.
And get down. It's too expensive a car for where you are today. You're getting married in June, going to double your household income soon, so I'm not going to make you sell it or suggest you have to sell it to get ahead, but it was a stupid purchase, given the amount of debt that you have. You're coming out as a youth pastor. So anyway, that's but no, the Mdiv is definitely on hold.
Yeah.
And again, furthering your knowledge is not a bad thing.
No.
Furthering your knowledge that creates extra income moves it up as a priority. Creates a lot of extra income, or is the only way to enter a career. That's a whole different thing.
That's correct.
But this falls very close to the area of luxury knowledge.
Absolutely, it is at this stage.
At this stage, it is, yeah. So, it's not holding you back, and it won't, by the way, in ministry. In
the American society, I can't speak to the rest of the Western world, but in American society, Dave, we have put a premium on education to where it is a normal thought, and we don't begrudge Tyler on this question, but it is a normal thought to go, well, the next step, the master's degree, in whatever industry it is so worth it. It is worth the debt because of what it's going to do for me long term, and that is just, it couldn't be any further from the truth. These education folks are smart. They got marketers, and they have marketed this message, and we got to be careful. It's not worth it.
It's become a cultural icon.
It's a cultural icon. It's an idol, if I could say that, and we got to be careful. It's not worth the price of going further into debt.
No.
Ever.
No, you're going to cash flow that puppy, or don't do it at all.
Yep.
In any event, so in any possible scenario. Good question, sir. Congrats on the upcoming marriage. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Folks, it's an honor to tell you about the Army National Guard. Not only are they big supporters of our high school curriculum, but they also give you the opportunity to impact your local communities. Whether your goals are to get an education, serve your country, or have a better life, the Army National Guard can help get you there. Plus, they offer unbelievable financial benefits. Secure your future today. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today here on the air. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Jake is with us. Jake is in Lansing, Michigan, and it says on my screen, Jake, that you are debt-free. Congratulations.
Thanks, Dave. Absolute honor to be on the program.
Well, thank you. Good to have you. How much have you paid off?
Paid off just over $38,000 in student loans. Took me about 2.5 years. Started making about $18,000 all the way up to $56,000. I'm working in IT now, and it feels so good to be debt-free.
Good for you, man. How old are you?
26.
Way to go. Excellent. So what kind of debt was the 38?
It was all student loans.
Man. So what inspired you to get this going 2.5 years ago?
I've actually been a long-time listener. I have memories riding around in the car with my dad when I was about 8 listening to you. So just always a dream of mine. My dad pushed me. I want to thank my parents for pushing me to do it. And yeah.
Very cool. Well, so when you graduated, you just took off and did it, or what?
Pretty much. I mean, I was living the rice and beans and rice for 2 of those 2.5 years. You know, I went from building fences to working in IT. So yeah, just went and did it.
Wow. Tell us about that journey, building fences to breaking into the technology field. What'd that look like?
Yeah, I graduated, had a tough time finding a job. I just needed money, so I took a job building fences. I was building fences for $10 an hour in the freezing cold. I was like, this sucks. Took another job. Took another job at a corporate office here in Lansing, doing data entry, worked my way up, got an opportunity to jump over to the IT side, cut my teeth there, got another opportunity. Hopefully I'll move up again, just keep hustling my way up.
I love it. Boy, I tell you, there's nothing like a $10 an hour job in the freezing cold, manual labor to get you motivated. All right, Dave?
That'll get your butt in gear, won't it?
Yeah.
Well done, Jake. Well done. Okay, now your friends are out there. You're talking to them. They got $30,000 or $40,000 worth of debt, and they say, hey, man, how'd you do that? What do you tell them the key to getting out of debt is?
I just point them to you, Dave.
Yeah, but what did I tell you to do that you went and did?
Oh yeah, you got to cut your lifestyle. You got to be gazelle intense. You got to just attack the debt because it feels so good on the backside of it.
So will you go back in debt?
Heck no.
What about your car, your next car?
Nope, I've just completed baby step 3. I'm saving up for a down payment on a house. Hopefully my car will make it a couple years, but if I need to cash, it's all cash.
There you go.
Wow.
Well done, sir. I love it. Proud of you. Congratulations. Very good. And say it feels good on this side, huh?
Oh, it feels fantastic. Making that last payment, I was like a weight lifted off my shoulders.
Well, I'm proud of you, man. Well done. I know your parents are as well. Excellent, excellent job.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a copy of Chris Hogan's book for you, Everyday Millionaires, and it will certainly show you the next chapter because that's the track you're on, brother. You're going to be there before you know it. Excellent job. Very cool. All right, Jake in Lansing, Michigan, $38,000 paid off in 2.5 years, making 18 on the fence line, up to 56 in the IT world. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt free!
Yeah! Very good. Excellent job. Very well done.
I suspect, Dave, that somebody else in Lansing heard that.
Oh, his next door neighbor anyway. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. You get free samples, free shipping. And with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best possible deal.
Today's question comes from Melissa in Pennsylvania. She asked, I feel like I've lost my passion in my current career field of IT. How do I tell if it is from burnout or a loss of interest for the work itself? Okay, I love this question, Dave. I get this all the time. So let's first start with that burnout, it's not from burnout. So burnout is a symptom. Okay, if I've got an injury in my knee, the problem isn't the actual pain. I got to find out what's causing the pain. So I go to the doctor and we're going to dive in. And so when I hear somebody talk about burnout is a very real feeling, folks. It comes with mental and emotional effects. It can also have physical effects. So I don't want to in any way minimize it, but there are causes of this feeling of being burned out. If you're alive, well, you're not burned out. When you go into eternity, well, the flame is gone. So I got great news for you, Melissa. You're not burned out. But this loss of passion, that's one of the 5 causes of what I call, Dave, build up on the heart. If I keep coming in every day and I don't have any juice for the job, I don't love the work, eventually it just becomes a utilitarian function. It's a job, and I get bored, which is another cause. Maybe she's dealing with toxicity in the workplace. It could be a lot of things. But when someone says, I've lost passion, so what we have to say is, okay, why? If you lost it, you had it. So if she was talking to me on the Ken Coleman Show, or she called in here today, and you could call in, I'll talk to you if that's you right now. Here's what I'm going to say. If you had it, let's go back and look to the time when you had it, when you had passion. What's changed? And therein lies the answer to when someone says, I've lost passion, we go, well, why do you not love it anymore? Well, it could be because a variety of factors. Environment in the office. It could be that that you're bored, you haven't been challenged in a long time, and you've actually mastered it.
Repetitiveness.
Yes, and when you first started it, there was the zeal.
It was new, but now you've done it 10,000 times. It's repetitive.
And we as humans need progress. So I would not assume, Melissa, that you've lost passion for IT work. Let's find out what you loved most about it at the time, what you still love doing, what work you love to do. And we walk through this with people. The sweet spot is at the intersection of talent, passion, mission. Talent's what you do best. Hard skills, soft skills. Passion is work you love to do. It's not about notoriety or pay. You just love the work itself. And then finally, mission. Well, all work creates results, Melissa. And so what are the results that you want to produce? And here's what I can tell you, Dave. She's not currently producing results that really fire her up.
She doesn't see them.
She doesn't see
Let me tell you, it's a problem in the technical world.
It is.
And we've solved that at Ramsey, and so we're getting some of the best tech and web architects, platform designers, everybody else in the world are coming here, some of the best in the world, because they get to see that when they write a line of code, when they lay something out, it results in this person being helped. And so many times the tech department gets stuck in a basement, and they're just salt mines.
That's right.
And they work them 1,000 hours a week, and work them into the ground instead of letting them have a home life. And they're just treated like robots, like a commodity.
That's right.
You burn them up and throw them out. Burn them up and throw them out. That's often done in that world. We've been the benefactor at Ramsey of hiring people trying to get away from that. So it could be the repetitiveness. It could be that just leadership has made the mistake, is a gentle way of saying it, of not letting the tech guys and gals see how their work is connected to the net result of the company.
And that's why you always go back to, am I creating a result with my work that I can look at and say, this matters deeply to me because I can see the significance that it is having in the workplace. You know, folks, this is a stark reminder, but I'll just lay this out there, Dave, because we got millions of Americans that are miserable on Mondays. And back in one of the worst things about the concentration camps wasn't just how they treated the prisoners physically, Dave, is that they broke them down mentally. And the way they did it is they would have them do meaningless work, move a pile of bricks from one side of the concentration camp to the other. And I've read the stories from survivors, and that killed them as much as anything. This lack of meaning. I'm doing meaningless work. You got to pay attention to this, folks. This will
Frankel
eat
talked
you
about that.
away.
His book was literally titled In Search of
Meaning.
There we go.
That's it.
This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today here on the air. No parent ever wants their child to experience the panic of being unprepared for an emergency, but teaching your teens how to be smart with money, yeah, that can be tough. Well, we got your back. With our digital self-study courses, you can rest assured your teen will know the right way to handle money no matter what curveballs life may throw at them down the road. The best part is you don't need an instructor. If your teen has a tablet, a computer, they're all set. Parents, if you're riding around listening to the Dave Ramsey Show, the Ken Coleman Show, the Rachel Cruz Show, and you're trying to get your kids to listen in, go ahead and take the next step and put them in the class. DaveRamsey.com/self-study. And you can learn more about different courses that we have available for high schools and for high schoolers and for middle schoolers as well. Billy is with us in Dallas. Hey, Billy, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Ramsey and Mr. Coleman. It's a real pleasure to speak with you today.
You too, sir. How can we help?
Well, I guess a little background information. My wife and I are both retired, and we were blessed to be able to completely build and pay for a vacation home a number of years ago.
Wonderful.
We actually bought the real estate, the property, about 30 years ago, and then built a vacation home there about a decade ago. Mm-hmm. And as life has progressed, we decided last year to sell that vacation home. Mm-hmm. It was never used as rental property. It was just a family getaway. Mm-hmm. Currently, and for the last several years, my wife and I have been blessed beyond belief and are able to live on nickels and dimes pretty much. And I've never been able to find an answer to how to calculate the capital gains on the sale of that vacation home, or if capital gains will actually need to be paid.
There will be, yeah.
Whenever I file taxes.
Yeah, you can just check with your tax advisor or check a tax ELP at DaveRamsey.com, but your basis is what you paid to build it plus what you paid for the land. And you've not depreciated it at all.
No, sir, that's correct. But what I've seen is that capital gains taxes are zero up to a certain level of income for a married couple filing jointly. And so I guess my question is, does the sale and the proceeds of that vacation home count as income during that particular year that it was sold?
I don't know. I'm not very good at taxes. I'm sorry, Billy. I think it does, as far as I understand, but I really want you to get some professional advice on this. So you don't have investment income?
We do have
that's taxable?
Retirement. We have retirement income, but we've not taken any proceeds from the retirement income yet.
So none of it's taxable right now.
No, any of my IRAs and that sort of thing. I rolled over, based on your advice, I rolled over my 401k and the pension plan when I retired about 6.5 years ago into IRAs. But we've been, again, fortunate that we've not had to take any proceeds or withdrawals from those retirement accounts.
Yeah. So my guess is it's going to be taxable at a capital gains rate. I do not know whether the income is going to count. I think it will count, and we'll drive you up into that. And so you're probably going to have a 15% capital gain on the actual gain. What do you think you've got in the property?
Well, we actually sold it for $360,000, and as close as I can calculate, our what we paid to have the home built and pay for the property is about $200,000.
Okay, so you got $160,000, and the only question is how much is taxes going to be on it, or how much of it's going to count towards this equation. Yeah. I the truth is, I know you do, I know you have a gain there. I don't know with you having virtually no income whether you're going to be able to duck under the 15% or not, and that's a tactical question, and so I'm going to have to tell you to do what I would do, which is I would have to pick up the phone and call my tax guy and my ELP, my endorsed local provider for taxes, and get some help with that. And that's what I'm going to have you do. I'm sorry. Wish I knew the answer, but we do know, you do know how to calculate your gain. You've got that figured out, and it's going to be at 15% if there is a gain, or nothing if you're low enough and it doesn't count. And this doesn't drive you up above that limit. So I don't know how that works exactly. Sorry. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Ken, I should have let you jump in because you're like a tax expert, right?
Yeah. I'm a tax expert as in I like to not be taxed. And I think that I'm a tax expert in that I don't believe we should be taxed very much at all. And it's all about political opinion is where I stop. I'm an expert on my opinion about what I think. That's it. But hey, that's why we have ELPs, by the way. I think it's a great illustration to say, even with you, as complex as some of the stuff you've got going on.
Know.
We all need a tax expert.
And this is a weird talk show because you don't have many talk show hosts that actually will tell you, I don't know.
That is true.
That's an unusual...
Truth in broadcasting.
Unusual answer in talk radio because they want, those of us on the microphone are supposed to know something about everything. All right, Susanna is with us in Tampa, Florida. Hey, Susanna, how are you?
I guess I'm not doing as great as you are.
Uh-oh,
you guys
okay.
sound great.
Uh-oh.
But I'm a little bit embarrassed and also distraught because my question is not as wonderful as all the other questions that have been coming up.
Okay.
Everyone's been very lucky.
No, it's okay. What's going on? How can we help?
Due to COVID and due to being laid off from my job 11 months ago, I've had to cash out my insurance policy, my life insurance, and my one and only son that I was saving for. I do have an IRA, $67,000, and I do have my about maybe $2,000 in cash put aside. I do have one CD, small one, a lot of credit cards due to COVID. But my question is, I'm having difficulty getting another policy at my age.
How old are you?
Obviously, you can tell, 65. And it's mainly for my son, but also to pay off, if I have anything left over. I don't owe too much
How
now.
old is your son?
He's 23.
And why are you required to buy his life insurance?
No, it's my life insurance that I wanted to leave for him.
No. You don't need to do that.
See, I did it because, and I won't say the last name, I watched someone called Susie, which you know who, said, you don't need life insurance to keep paying $300, $500 a month. You should cash that out and put it in a CD or something.
Well, me and Susie agree.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, but I'm having difficulty finding a place to do that.
But the point is you don't need to buy life insurance on a 23-year-old, and you don't need to buy life insurance on you to leave the 23-year-old something. The 23-year-old needs to make his way in his life and not leave his mother with this burden right now. So, Mom, you don't have that burden. That's easy. Now, and you don't even need life insurance on you. You've got enough to bury you if something happens. And so you're good. So now all we've got to do is worry about getting your career up and going because you're starving to death because you haven't been working.
And credit cards, which I haven't slept since last February.
What were you doing? What kind of work were you doing?
Believe it or not, I was working at the airport, originally working with an airline, got laid off with that, and then moved on to check-in boarding passes for the passengers in front of TSA.
And that's gone now, too?
Gone.
Okay. All right.
So I'm doing Uber when I can.
Okay.
And trying to find a way to pay credit cards off and not eat too much.
Yeah. Well, the reason you have credit card debt is not COVID. The reason you have credit card debt is COVID affected your career. You lost your income. Now, that is a reason that people get into debt, and that's for real. So what we've got to do is, hang on, I'm going to have Kelly pick up, and we're going to get you onto Ken Coleman's website and let you download some things to get you some ideas on some things to start creating some income and get some interviewing going. Because what you have more than anything, honey, is a career crisis. You have an income crisis.
That's right.
So if we can get that fixed, the rest of this stuff's going to start to fix itself. And quit supporting the 23-year-old. Period. No circumstances. Is that okay? Especially with all the things you're facing. You got enough irons in the fire without him. Tell him to get on with his life, little pig. That puts this hour of the Dave Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, hang on. Ken Coleman and I will be here. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Dave Ramsey Show. Where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. We're talking to you about your life and your money. Thank you for joining us. The phone number here is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. John in Indianapolis, Indiana, starts off this hour. Hey, John, how are you?
Good, Dave. It's a pleasure to talk to you and Ken.
You too, sir. What's up?
So I got a question about wills. My wife and I had originally set up a will for us back when our oldest was originally born 17 years ago. And since that time, and it was set up where everything would go into it. If both of us died, everything would go into a trust for the kids. Mm-hmm. And they would start to get them at different ages, starting at like age 21 and then 25 and 27, mm-hmm. they would get a portion of it. Mm-hmm. And now, since then, my wife passed away, and so it's just me. And looking at the amount that is going to be in the estate at this point in time, with insurance, it's going to be over $4 million. Mm-hmm. And I've heard you talk before about putting stipulations in that, I don't want, the last thing I want is to enable my kids to be trust fund babies, and, I want them to be working hard. And so how do I go about putting in stipulations that they need to meet certain criteria, as far as, in general, I want them to be living for the Lord. I want them to be managing money well. About how do I go about actually putting that in, and who makes those decisions?
Well, that's you'd have to sit down with an estate planning attorney, and you develop terms of the trust. And ours has gotten, the larger it's gotten, the more complicated it's gotten. And so, it just depends on how much control you want to try to exhibit through this process. And the more control you want to try to exhibit, the more complicated it gets, obviously. And so, we put ours in with a family constitution. There are 3 kids in the trust, and if any one of the 3 aren't abiding by it, the other 2 can, cause the trustee to take action and remove them from the benefits of the trust. And then there's a process by which they can come home if they're prodigal, and that they could be redeemed and put back in as well. So we built all of that in, and then, you've got to detail out the timeline on that and try to, or not the timeline, but the guidelines by which someone could be exited from the benefits under what circumstances. Because, what happens is that things go sour after you're gone, and one of these siblings uses it as a weapon on the other one, and then you've just got one of these things that's just a lawsuit that eats up all the money. And we've seen that with lots of family stuff that gets in the news. And I can think of 3 different families right now that I know that are household, their businesses are household names, and the estate nastiness got into the news. And so you just want to be real clear. The biggest thing you can do is just handle all this while they're alive. While you're alive, I mean, if you got one of them off the rails, just go ahead and decide now, that they're not going to be in it. And you don't want to fund. I'm not going to fund your cocaine. I'm not going to fund your trust fund and baby activities. You're going to be a productive citizen. You're going to be walking with God. And I agree with you on those things, and that's what we put in ours. But it's got, it's very detailed. It was rather expensive to build because of the lawyer's time involved, and it's a little bit unusual what we did. But I'm just trying to cause the money to be a blessing and not a curse, because it's a curse if it enables bad behavior, and that's what you're concerned about, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Okay. So
how old are your kids?
Included, my oldest is 17, so 17, 15, and 10.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they're still pretty young.
So they're a little young to know really how well, they're going to be managing money.
You'll know a lot more 10 years from now for sure. So,
right.
I'd probably keep it pretty clean and simple right now. And then as the wealth increases and as they get older and you got indications, I might get more complicated then. It's actually what we did.
Okay.
I mean, the problem is, with the real estate portfolio and the size of Ramsey and everything, it's hundreds of millions of dollars. And so it's not, it's not a simple thing to say. When ours was $4 million, we were very simple. And that's not to say $4 million is not a lot. It's a lot. But the problem with hundreds of millions is you can run 2 generations or 3 generations. And so I got more and more paranoid about doing the right thing by my family as it has grown. So it is a challenge.
The way you set that up, and I don't want to get into the family business, but do you have a trustee? And so the children would, if one was misbehaving, the 2 would make the case to the trustee.
Yeah.
And so what happens if the trustee has a heart attack and dies? Do you have
There's a substitute trustee.
You have all of that.
All trusts.
You got to think through all of
trustees always have a substitute trustee.
That's what I thought.
In all trusts.
Okay.
No attorney that's worth their salt will let you build a trust with a single person that the whole thing stands on that person and then they die.
Yeah.
And you can cause that trust to be changed out.
Right.
Also, but they still have to serve that function.
Is it much like an arbitration situation where that trustee? There's minutes, there's evidence.
The trustee has. It can
they kind of determine it how they want to run it.
They have to build back up that they did. They have to go by the terms of the trust.
Right.
They don't get to make it up.
Right.
They don't get to make up their own rules. And so this is there's not much left to interpretation. If they don't go by the terms of the trust, they start being personally liable for suit by the beneficiaries of the trust, which would be the in this case, the kids. So, but the big thing, the way, once the kids are older, now his are younger, but mine are all adults with spouses and kids of their own. And so you're just talking through this stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. It's not like they've discovered all of this was done after I'm gone. Mm-hmm. We have this big Dave is going to die this year meeting every year. And if Dave dies this year, here's what it all looks like. And we review every bit of this. So that one more time, they've got it dialed into their head what the intent was and how things should work.
It's got to be weird sitting in that meeting for you.
Monty Python meeting. I'm feeling much better. It's just a flesh wound.
Were you like checking your pulse rate and you're kind of doing some medical exams?
Really, just going, do I look okay? Is my color bad? It's like, it's strange. But I tell you what, doing a will is a strange thing.
Well,
it is for anybody. We're
all going to die. That's the one thing we can't count on.
Got to do a will. You got to get on mamabear.com, get your will done for sure. Yeah, everybody's going to die. You got to get a will. And it's a sobering exercise. It reminds us of our mortality. Yeah. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices. And they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. Be like to have no credit card debt, no medical bills, no student loans, no car payments. The borrower is slave to the lender. How would you feel if you were free? How much better would you feel? After 2020, most of America feels the same way, stressed and out of control. But this year really can be different. It is time. It's time to take control of your money. And the best way to do that is the Ramsey Plus Money Reset. It is our challenge for anyone that wants to start Ramsey Plus this year. How much progress can you make on your money if you went all in, game on, for 90 days? All into paying off your debt, all into saving for emergencies. With Ramsey Plus, we're going to give you daily and weekly and monthly small wins with your money, and they add up to be really big. So this year you can just decide to reset your money, to go all in for 90 days and take control of your money. Make today day one. Start a free trial at Ramsey Plus. Go to DaveRamsey.com/reset. It is time. Open phones this hour at 888-825-5225. Laurel is with us in Redmond, Oregon. Hi, Laurel. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Your phone sucks. Great. What's up?
Sorry. I invested some money for my daughter.
Can you speak direct? I can't understand you. Can you speak directly into your phone, please?
How's that?
A little better. Thanks.
I invested some money for my daughter to get when she's 35. She's now 35, getting the money, but the housing market seems to be not in very good situation to buy a home. So my question is, should she reinvest the money that she's getting on the annuity, or should she buy a home at this point?
Why would it not be a good time to buy a home?
The prices in Central Oregon are astronomical.
They are everywhere.
So do you just pay it or reinvest it and wait for them to come down? Or?
I think you're going to have a long wait, like never. Yeah. I mean, the market may soften and you may get a deal at some point if the economy gets screwed up or something, but I'm not going to wait around to buy a home at 35 years old. You buy. Now, you don't want to go out and overpay in the sense that you just get in some bidding war or something crazy where you're overpaying for a property. You want to be diligent about purchasing a property, but she's 35. It's her money. She ought to be able to make this decision.
Yeah, you can't sit there and try to time this out. The market's hot, and it's all about supply demand. So all you got to do is look at your local situation and make a decision. At some point, you gotta buy, and you make the best purchase possible, and then you move forward.
Yeah, my 35-year-olds don't ask me.
Yeah, there's
and I'm Dave Ramsey.
I was wondering if we were going to address that. I mean,
You're 35. Yeah. She gets to do what she wants to do.
Yeah. Give her advice and then step out.
If they ask me, it's because they actually want my advice. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the market right now and that kind of a thing? But I don't dictate to them when they're 35 years old.
We see a lot of this. This is a helicopter situation where as parents you got to be careful. You got to at some point trust them and let them learn and give them some advice and walk away.
Yeah, that point was a decade ago.
Yeah.
Nisha is in Boise, Idaho. Hi, Nisha. How are you?
Hi, Dave and Ken. Great. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Dave, my husband and I are coordinating a SPU class at the moment, and we have one participant who has been with her husband since she was 19. She's now in her 40s, and 5 months ago, her husband left her, and she's never handled any of the finances. She just got served with divorce papers, but she only has $1,600 to her name. Her income is pretty limited. My understanding is that there's a lawyer that she can hire for $5,000 that is the so-called pit bull that would get her everything she needs. Or she could hire another lawyer for $1,500. I know Idaho's a 50-50 state when it comes to divorce, but what's your advice for her, and how would she create the $5,000 to hire the best lawyer?
Why has she not gotten her income up during the 5 months he's been gone?
She's been a stay-at-home mom for a long time, so I think that's the best she can do right now. She does have 2 jobs. One is actually in a school, so I think it's limited income just because of the school year.
Mm-hmm. But here's my point. Wait a minute. Is he like? Do they have a lot of money? Is he wealthy?
He's definitely better off than she is. It sounds like he's being quite manipulative at the moment, and holding all the money back that would be theirs.
Yeah, but what is all the money? I mean, how much money does he have? Is this? Because let me just tell you, if he doesn't have a lot, if he doesn't have like hundreds of thousands of dollars, this pit bull for $5,000 is not going to create money where there's not money.
Right. I would have to say he works for the federal government. I would have to say he's got quite a bit set aside that she doesn't know about because she's never had anything to do with the finances in all the years that they've been together.
Okay. But you don't really have any indicator of that except that he's had a decent career and he hides and manipulates.
Right. And, he just bought a brand new Mercedes. He's just getting ready to build a new house.
Okay, I'm going after him.
So she's okay.
Yeah. So the answer.
That's what I thought you would have said.
I'm getting there now.
So what are her 2 jobs? What are the 2 jobs that she's been working? These are 2 part-time jobs, I'm assuming?
Yes. No. Well, one's in a school, so I guess it's only 8 months out of the year. And then the other one is an evening job that she does after she's, got home.
Yeah.
Fed her.
Does she have children?
Kids, and then when the kids go to bed.
Yeah, she's got 2 young kids.
They're a little older. They're 18 and 14.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, so here's the deal. She has a broken heart, and her confidence, what she had, has been crushed.
Yes.
And that is the bigger crisis here than anything else. And so we've got to get her eyes on the 10 years from now at 52, she's a successful ... Fill in that blank. Very successful, making more money than he makes now. And she's going to be she's going to be a caterpillar that becomes a beautiful butterfly.
Mm-hmm. How many people are in your group? How many people are in your group that you're coordinating?
We're only a group. So there's just myself and my husband and 3 other people.
Okay, but that's a start. That's a base. So one of the best things you can do for her is, playing off of what Dave just said, is remind her of that and say, hey, we're going to come alongside of you in this deal, and we're going to help you get a better job or a better 2 jobs. Because if you just take the amount of people that the 3 couples, know, and you expand that out and you begin to help share her narrative and share her story. Because the other thing that she's dealing with is she's been a stay-at-home mom for so long, and I get these calls on the Ken Coleman Show all the time, and they think, well, life has passed me by, and that's not true.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is she has tangible hard skills and soft skills that she can use. And if it were me, Nisha, you said, what should we do? Let's help her get a better job, a better paying job that's going to give her more money, which is going to give her some breathing room. It's going to give her some momentum and some confidence, and that's how she saves for the $5,000 pit bull. But I would walk with her on this.
And on top of that, you tell her to sit down with the pit bull and say, I got $1,500, I'll have the $5,000 later. Or you can take it out of his side if you'd like. That'd be great.
How about a piece of the action?
Go over there and get some of that money, and I'll give you your $5,000.
That's right. By the way, those guys, if he's really a pit bull, he'll respond to that.
He'll like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do want that guy. You want the one that wants to take a chunk out of the guy's butt.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I was leaning also, yep.
Yeah, I think you get him going, but you're going to have to jack him up. She's not going to have the $5,000, but more than anything, the fact that she has not got her career moving better than it is over a 5-month period of time tells me that she's still under the blanket of the depression of this toxicity of this marriage. And we gotta get her wings out of this cocoon and get them out there where she can flap them, because she's gonna need income regardless of the divorce, regardless how much she gets from the guy. She's got to have a beautiful, better life, and so she needs Ken Coleman in her life big time.
Yeah.
And hang on, Kelly will pick up. We'll send you a copy of Ken's book just for her.
Healthcare has gotten to be ridiculous. It puts people, on the brink. And so it would have put us on the brink had we not had CHM. CHM saved our life, saved our financial lives.
Christian Healthcare Ministries, or CHM, is not health insurance, but it is a budget-friendly option and the original health cost-sharing ministry for Christians. Learn more today and check us out at chministries.org. That's chministries.org.
Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Cheryl is with us in Canada. Hi, Cheryl. How are you?
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
I have a question regarding my husband and I are debating about whether we should sell our 1995 tent trailer and upgrade to a used travel trailer. We're in our mid-30s. We have a family of 6 that loves to camp. We're debt-free, including our home, and we have cash to pay both for the trailer and the tow vehicle that we would need to pull it. But I'm really concerned about the steep depreciation and the other costs, the storage, the maintenance, the insurance. So we want to get your opinion about whether it's wise to make this purchase.
Okay. What's it going to cost?
Depending on the age, if we get a 5-year-old trailer, it'd be about $22,000. If we go back to a 15-year-old trailer, we're talking maybe $10,000 less, $12,000, but it could need more maintenance as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what are the costs associated with owning it?
We're estimating it would cost about $3,000, including the depreciation, the storage, the insurance. But that's not including depreciation on an SUV that we would buy.
That includes the depreciation? What's the cash out of pocket? What's the cash out of pocket to own the thing after you own it, not counting depreciation?
Yearly, it would be about $800 for storage and insurance.
Right. What's your household income?
About $200,000.
Okay. What's the other vehicles that you own? What's the value on all of those?
So we have I would say about $20,000 together. We have a car and a van.
I would buy it.
You would buy it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It just is a very steep depreciation, and it just feels like a toy that
exactly
my husband would really love to get.
It's a complete waste of money. It's exactly what it is.
Yes.
Except for the fact that you're going to use it for making memories with your family, and you're going to get enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. Are you planning to flip it anytime soon?
No, she's
of course
going to use
not. That's my point. So I mean, the depreciation is almost like a false narrative in this decision.
The thing is this. Here's how I decided that. Okay. Here's the decision-making tool I use, Cheryl. It is. Okay. You will have $50,000 or less tied up in things that are going down in value with wheels and motors. You make $200,000. Okay. If we set $50,000 in the middle of the table in your financial situation and set fire to it, you're still okay.
Yes.
It would be unpleasant, but you're still okay. And so the problem with toys is if you told me all that and then you told me you made $50,000, I would be going, you're out of your freaking mind. You cannot absorb depreciation on $40,000 or $50,000 worth of stuff when you make $50,000, because it is all going down in value. You've accurately assessed that, but you're 100% debt-free, house and everything. You make $200,000 a year. You got great control of everything. You've researched everything to the T. You really know your stuff. You're not wandering into this undisciplined. You're not wandering into this on an impulse. You've thought this through. You even called to ask an expert's opinion. This is how much detail you've gone into. And the numbers 10 years from today in your overall wealth building tool are irrelevant. And that's how you decide if you can have a toy or not.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I think we're just real savers. And
yeah,
so
I think you are. I think you're tightwads.
You're very disciplined, but again, $800 is what you've estimated it's going to cost you in upkeep, and I don't think that's a willy-nilly number either. So you just got to play that out. What does $800 mean to you in your budget? In your
much.
current, it's nothing. It's peanuts in your current economic situation.
Most people buying a biscuit.
Yeah, I mean, there could be maintenance costs that could really add up as well.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of
You could forget to pay the insurance and the thing rolls off a cliff and you lose the whole thing, and it's $22,000. You're all right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In your world, $22,000 does not destroy your world. If you spent $22,000 on, let's try it this way. If you spent $22,000, you remember back when they had these things called cruises? If you spent $22,000 to take your family on a cruise and came home with nothing but the memory, you can afford to do that.
Right.
You can afford that.
We could.
Yeah,
Another element to this equation is that I'm self-employed. I'm a contractor, and while my husband brings home the bulk of the income, and I'm part-time working from home, my income does fluctuate, and so we could be down $30,000 from that average from last year.
Cheryl, you're having trouble enjoying the fruits of your labor.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new skill you need to practice. You enjoy saving, and you enjoy planning, and you enjoy analyzing, but you're getting paralysis of the analysis. Yeah. It's a $22,000 purchase, and in your world, it's not a big deal.
Mm-mm.
And you're making a whole lot bigger. You're trying to find something to worry about here, darling. Go get your trailer and enjoy it. Take your kids camping out in the woods. You're going to have a blast.
No one else.
Go out there and just sit back there and get you a cup of coffee and smile in the camping chair.
I mean, the maintenance on that is not going to be that much. I mean, unless somebody's walking around that thing beating it with sledgehammers, then we got real problems. But the maintenance on this, they can absorb that.
Well, yeah, it's not, again, set fire to it and get you another one.
That's right.
It's not exactly the end of the world.
Right.
And so the good news, this is what happened. And what's happening with her happens with all of us.
Yeah.
It's happened to me. Mm-hmm. It's happened to you. As we progress in the math,
mm-hmm.
our emotions don't always keep up.
That's true.
There's still a part of, when I get ready to buy something today, Sharon Ramsey will oftentimes say some sentence. And you and Stacy have been sitting there sometimes when she'll say it.
I've seen it, yeah.
But the sentence has nothing to do with her present reality. It has to do with a 28-year-old version of her who's in bankruptcy court with a baby, wasn't starving, but worrying about feeding our babies. And that person still lives inside of her, inside of me.
Yes.
And we all have that, whether you've been through bankruptcy or not. But these folks have been saving and progressing, and their reality has progressed so much beyond their emotional grasp of it. And that happens to all of us.
Everybody.
I mean, we spend more on copier paper and coffee in this building than I used to make in a year.
Yeah, I've heard you say that.
I can't get my head around the checks I write out of Ramsey.
How about this building?
I mean,
it had to blow your mind when you wrote the checks for this building. We paid cash for this.
It becomes surreal. It becomes kind of like you're playing Monopoly or something with somebody else's money.
Yeah.
But that's but we've often talked about inside the business and in our personal lives that as we have become progressively wealthier and more successful in general, our emotions still remind us of the other stuff. It's a good check and balance because you don't
good.
This keeps Cheryl or people, all of us when we're in Cheryl's situation, from overspending. Yeah. So she's being very wise. This is not to pick on her at all.
No.
Been very, and the best part of her story is she is a detail fiend. I mean, she's on the research.
Yeah. You know what this was about? This had nothing to do with details. This was, Dave, please tell me that we're not being careless.
Yeah.
It's the psychology of the money, and that's what you've been describing. That's what changes.
Yep.
You know, when you and Sharon, you talked about it in Stephanie the other day, you know, the way you had to change your life and the way that to this day, but you said the other day you still give Sharon envelopes.
Oh, she's on the
Yeah, there's it's a lot bigger envelope.
Yeah,
probably a lot more in it.
A little thicker.
But the fact of the matter is that life change comes with psychology first because you're surviving and you're just buckling down.
Yep.
Then you get into thriving, but the habits and the way you see money, it's still there, and it feels so weird. You're like, oh my gosh, this is a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a trailer.
You're getting
for
ready
our
to
kids.
buy something that when somebody else bought it years ago, you looked at them and said, I would never.
That's right.
I will never spend that on a car.
$22,000 on a depreciating asset instead of going.
Would never.
We've lived like no one else.
And
so
Cheryl, again, this is saying you're smart, you're wise.
Yes.
That you're
not going to blow it.
You're not going to blow it. Trust your instincts. But the only advice I've got for you is just push against it a little bit and embrace the reality of where you are, not where you came from.
Yes.
And that allows you to enjoy generosity.
Yes.
And it allows you to enjoy being generous to yourself in the process.
Buy a huge box of marshmallows the same day that you buy the camper.
And some graham crackers.
That too.
And some chocolate. Got to make some s'mores.
That's right.
Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Host of the Ken Coleman Show, where we talk about careers. He's America's leading career coach on 70 radio stations across America, plus podcasts, plus Sirius XM. Be sure and tune in.
And YouTube.
And YouTube. That's right.
Can't forget about that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you and I are known for our quality camera appearances.
Yes. Yes. We probably should stick to radio, but, you have to expand.
You have to embrace the modern technologies.
Go where people are.
I'm telling you. Yeah. All right. Carly is with us in Cincinnati. Hey, Carly, how are you?
Good, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Okay, so just a little bit of background. I'm 23 years old and still living at home with my parents. I graduated cosmetology school in 2016, but I ended up leaving the salon life to explore other options with steadier incomes. I took a job 2 years ago with a logistics company doing billing. The pay is really low. I get $13 an hour at full time, so last year it was about $26,000. I'm debt-free after paying off $35,000 in school loans and car debt.
Good for you.
Thank you. My question is more so advice. I'm wanting to move out on my own soon now that I'm debt-free, and actually I was planning on moving down to Tennessee. I'm seeking advice on finding a new job or career that pays enough for me to be able to support myself.
Does the cosmetology degree, does it transfer from state to state? Is it reciprocal?
It does not. Just Ohio.
So
and I don't have a college
I'm sorry, you're kidding me. You got trained to cut hair and licensed to cut hair in Ohio, and Tennessee does not respect that license.
No, I would have to retake my board test for Tennessee.
Just the board test, but not the school.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how big a deal is that?
I would have to refresh my training and education.
Why?
And then sign up to. I think it costs money to take your boards, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Oh, yeah, it does.
I'm sure it does. But why would you have to refresh? Just go take it. You just took it.
Yeah, in 2016 I did.
The question is, what do you want? The question is, what kind of work do you want to do? Because when somebody says, "Well, what kind of work would allow me to make good money? That's an open-ended question. I could answer that for 24 hours straight. A job, a job is a job, but I don't teach people that they're put on this planet to just work a job. Work is not a utilitarian function. So what is it that you really want to do? You've got a creative
You're
bent
23.
to you.
Where do you want to be when you're 43?
Yeah. What's that? What's something that gets you excited about, that fires your heart up?
The reason I actually went into cosmetology wasn't to work in salons. It was to work doing like backstage theater or like movie production, that type of stuff.
Okay.
You just need a salon experience to get into that.
Okay.
However, I've since done a lot of research on getting into that, and it's very hard. And also, you have to be in a union to even be able to legally be paid to work on jobs like that.
Are you talking about doing makeup in the entertainment industry?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, keep going. I'm sorry, you were saying.
So you have to pay to get into a union for that, to get paid to do it legally. So I've been back in Ohio. I've just been doing like a full-time job and then doing the cosmetology stuff on the side. So I'll like pick up weddings when I can. I don't know if you know what Kings Island is. I've worked there for the past 5 years I've done makeup for them for the past 5 years for their Halloween haunt and Winterfest stuff.
Okay. All right. So here's let me just break this down for you, because you need to be able to look up and see what's the long-term play here. And I can tell you unequivocally that you can do very well as a makeup artist in the entertainment industry and start to break into, not just the entertainment industry, but like for instance, Ramsey Solutions hires makeup artists when we do different
there's zero
things.
union requirement.
There's
here.
no union requirement. So that's a myth that you have to be a union member to be a successful cosmetologist or makeup artist, and you can do very, very well. Now it's just like any other industry. You got to get in, and then once you're on that ladder, Carly, now we can begin to climb the ladder. And that's why I wrote this book called The Proximity Principle. And here's what the proximity principle is. It just says this: in order to do what Carly wants to do, to be a professional makeup artist, she's got to be hanging around professional makeup artists, people that are doing it. And then she's got to be in places where it's happening. So that means online communities and associations. And I'm going to show up in some places where it's happening. And I'm going to volunteer where they need an extra set of hands sometimes. And I may not get paid at a couple of these gigs, but I'm meeting people because I'm in the right places. And if you stay with it long enough, you'll get there. So you can get going part-time, as you've been showing, and you've already proven it to us, doing some makeup artist work. If you want to move to Tennessee, then you get a couple of jobs, you keep busting it. These are day jobs, and we get the money to move to Tennessee, so it's an easy transition. We make some connections before we move to Tennessee, and we get going. But you can start in this part-time, and eventually you'll get in full-time and do very, very well. But number one, you don't have to join a union. But you're going to have to get anchored, and Nashville's a hot area for this. And as COVID begins to kind of thaw out and all this stuff, and people get back, you're going to see a roar. You're going to see a boom, Dave, in these entertainment jobs and in the entertainment industry. And she needs to be positioned geographically, and she needs to be positioned professionally, and getting here and getting the state boards taken to be ready to go and ready for action and making connections. I'm available. I'll come do this. This is just a game of attrition, Dave. It's not a difficult play, but we've got to put ourselves in the right place, stay there, keep showing up, keep connecting, keep doing a great job. And as you know, when I was doing radio, I had a full-time job, and I was doing radio on Saturdays. And that's the deal. You've got to stay with it.
This radio show lost money for the first 10 years it was on the air.
Yes.
And the other parts of the business were our day job, so to speak, were supporting it. Now it makes a lot of money, but it didn't used to.
That's right.
And so it's not unusual to do this. Not unusual, in the entertainment field, it is all about connectivity. The proximity principle is a big deal, so we'll send you a copy of Ken's book on that and get you going, Carly. Brett is with us. Brett is in Long Beach. Hey, Brett, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave, thanks for having me.
Sure, man. What's up?
I just wanted to check with you. So I'm following the 7 baby steps, and I'm on step number 2 now, trying to pay off all my debt. And I want to see if it's wise for me to do a cash out refi on my condo in order to pay off my student loan.
No, because you're not paying it off. You're just moving it onto your condo.
Okay, and even though the interest rate might be lower on my condo, that doesn't make any sense?
Nope. You're changing something that you should pay off in a couple of years into something you're going to pay off in 15 to 30. So how much student loan debt have you got?
I got $36,000 left.
What's your household income?
I make $92,000 a year.
Okay.
Ooh,
so why can't you pay that in a year?
Well, I got a truck payment, and I'm slowly chipping away at it.
How much do you owe on your truck?
I owe $19,000.
Okay. And how much other debt have you got, not counting the condo?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So you have $55,000 in debt, and you make $90,000.
Yeah.
Well, for sure, you should be debt-free in 2 years. That'd be $27,500 out of $90,000 a year.
How much is the truck worth?
The truck, well, I bought it for $25,000 in 2016 Colorado.
I'd find out how much it's worth. Is it just you? You single?
Yeah.
Yeah, I might step down out of that, and that'll help you get things moving, too, because you got a big old
momentum
truck payment
there.
But here's the thing. What you're not doing, Brad, I can tell based on these numbers, you're not doing a written detailed budget where you're making every dollar behave. You've not quit eating out. You've not gotten into attack mode on this debt. You're not squeezing the money that you have, because $90,000 should be able to live, even in Long Beach, and still come up with $30,000 a year to become debt-free in 2 years and keep the truck in that case. But no, you cannot borrow your way out of debt. There's no short-term goal. There's no short-term, quick, easy way out of debt. And borrowing on your condo to move it around doesn't make, and calling it a wise move because of interest rate did not make the debt go away. What makes the debt go away is you getting on top of it with your foot and standing on its neck.
Yeah. You can do this, man. You're just going to have to get really intense, and now's the time. When you're single and you have anybody relying on you, get after it.
Yeah, it is. This is your call to really get very detailed and very serious, as if your life depends on it, because your financial life does. It's time. It's time. Hold on. I'm going to send you a copy of the Total Money Makeover book to help you with it. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where dad is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is your show, America. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. You jump in and we'll talk. 888-825-5225. Lauren is with us in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hi, Lauren. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Hey, so I'm getting married this summer, and once I move into my future husband's house, I plan to use my rent money to either go toward helping pay down the mortgage or putting towards savings to our next house, which we plan to buy 2 to 3 years after we're married. I just want to see what the best option is, and neither of us have any debt except the house.
Great. Very cool. Well, we would change how we're approaching it, and then that'll help you figure out what's going on. It's no longer your rent money. We now have a budget. That is our income. If we have any extra income, and you will have in your budget, what are we going to do with our extra income? And that's a different way of approaching it, because it should be more than just your old rent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Gotcha. Okay.
So you see the difference in the terminology, because it matters. Because when you're working a plan together, if you say, I'm just going to take that rent money and do something with it, that limits you, and it causes you to continue to think separately rather than unified with the person you're marrying, okay?
Okay.
All right, so what are we going to do with our extra money? We're always going to put it, Ramsey's always going to tell you to put it on your next baby step where you are. Now, baby step 3 is your new household should have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved as an emergency fund. Will that already be done?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then your new household is going to look at your total household income upon being married and say, we're going to save 15% of our income going into retirement as a budget item. And then that's going to lower or affect how much you have to move on with other things. Do either one of you have children that you're bringing into this marriage?
No.
Okay, so baby step 5 is save for college. You don't need to do that. So the answer to your overall question, after I give you all my clarifications and caveats, is pay it on the house. That's baby step 6. We're going to get rid of the home mortgage. But this is the two of you working together to achieve that goal. And of course, you're going to have some other things you need to do in this budget with a combined household. You're going to want to, purchase a new couch. You're moving into his house, and it probably needs a touch from you.
I highly suggest the touch, whether he thinks he needs it or not.
I'll guarantee you he doesn't think he does, and I'll guarantee you he does.
I was curious, Lauren, how much is his house worth? Any idea? How much debt's on it?
Debt probably in the 100,000 range. I think upwards of 200,000 for value right now.
So what do you make and what's he make?
Well, combined, we'll probably make a little over 105-ish.
Excellent.
That's great.
Excellent. You guys are going to be in great shape. And so I gave you a lot of detail there to try to get things lined up the right way. And all kidding aside, he is going to experience something that all husbands since time began have experienced. And that is that there's a line item in the budget called redecorating.
Yes. Yes.
And it really is, because his house, the reality is his house probably needs it.
Right.
My son got married 2 years ago. He'd had the home he's living in for a couple years, and it needed Allison's touch. I'm just saying. And Allison put her touch on it. They lived there a couple more years and sold it and made a lot of money and moved on up to another property. But it sure did help it when Allison moved in. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I want to say this to you, Lauren. I'm approaching 23 years of marriage. Dave's been married longer than me. Listen, it is a temptation for all young couples to want to progress and to start this new life and upgrade in house. There's nothing wrong with it. You guys are so sharp and you're in great shape. But I'm just going to tell you, just going to play a little older brother on you. You need to pay that house off. You only owe about $100,000, $105,000 on it. You guys with that joint income, pay it off completely.
Get that thing knocked out.
And then now you sell that house and think about the house you can actually buy with a massive, massive down payment. So just be patient.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Jake is with us in Wichita, Kansas. Hi, Jake. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, thank you. How are you guys?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So my fiance has $35,000 in debt, and I was wondering whether I should try to pay off that now or pay after the wedding.
After the wedding.
After the wedding?
Never pay someone else's debt until you're married. Always pay their debt as soon as you come home from the honeymoon.
Yeah. It makes me nervous. What's that Julia Roberts wedding where she keeps runaway bride? Makes me very nervous. Paying off $35,000.
Yeah, so you got cash. Okay. You got the cash to pay it off?
Not all of it. And actually $30,000 of it is a school loan that we don't have to start paying on until about another year and a half.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Pay it off anyway. Pay it off as soon as you get married. So how much, when are you getting married?
We're getting married the 31st of July.
Awesome. Yeah. Congratulations.
It's awesome, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
That's so fun. And it's so cool that you're able to step in and you guys are able to join your finances and accomplish some goals really quick like that. Because you knock out that debt and really fast, then you're going to be able to move on to other stuff. As young as you are, you're going to really be doing well.
Yeah, well, we're really lucky that we found you. I just started listening to the podcast last week and just finished Baby Step 1, and so I was taking a crack at Baby Step 2 and just thought I should try to figure out where I should start.
Yeah, so have you got any debt?
No debt.
Okay, so Baby Step 2 for you doesn't exist. You're moving on to finishing up your emergency fund, right?
Right.
And then you move on and I wouldn't start your investing. I'd just pile that money up and get ready for July. I wouldn't do your Baby Step 4 right now. I would just pile up and get ready to write the check when you marry her, because you want to knock out her, because all of a sudden you're going to start right back over again in July, right?
Right.
So, yeah, let's just pile up cash and get ready for that from a practical or a tactical standpoint. And you're luckier than that. You're luckier than finding us on YouTube, because you not only that, you got through on these phones, which is a dadgum lottery. And on top of that, we're going to give you a wedding gift. We want you to be in Ramsey Plus, which is Financial Peace University, premium version of every dollar, everything you need to really, this is the Bentley of handling money. We're going to show you how to do it. I'm going to give you a 1-year subscription as a wedding gift, Jake. So hang on, and Kelly will pick up, and we'll take care of you guys on that. What a great way to start.
Yeah, these young couples that are getting ahead of the game, marriage is, the first year of marriage is really tough as you learn to live with somebody else, and you learn to actually get out of the in-love stage and actually love, and have to learn how to love when you don't like, and to have the no money pressure.
It takes a year of being, you don't buy a house in the first year.
No.
It takes a year of being married to know how close to your mother-in-law to buy.
You threw me off there, Dave. When you did the wedding gift, I didn't see Ramsey Plus coming. I thought, what do we have, some knives? A blender? I didn't know where you were going with that. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Kelly, send them Ken's blender.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we'll send that just free of charge. I'm ready for a new one.
Throw that in.
Yeah.
The one that's back there in the room that he makes his juice with.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. That's always good.
Folks, it's an honor to tell you about the Army National Guard. Not only are they big supporters of our high school curriculum, but they also give you the opportunity to impact your local communities. Whether your goals are to get an education, serve your country, or have a better life, the Army National Guard can help get you there. Plus, they offer unbelievable financial benefits. Secure your future today. Visit nationalguard.com to find out more. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Well, after 2020, some of you are saying, I need a better plan. The one I had doesn't prepare me for pandemics. Doesn't set me up to win. You need a reset. So in 2021, we're helping you do a reset. And you can take control of your money. You need a plan. You need the right plan. Ramsey Plus is our step-by-step plan that'll help you get some quick wins, daily wins, weekly wins, a 90-day challenge, all to get you started, because you really never mess up by getting a great fast start. You can decide on their total money reset this year. Start with Ramsey Plus. It includes Financial Peace University. It includes Every Dollar. It includes the Baby Step Tracking app. It includes Ask a Coach app. It includes all the stuff to help you, everything you need to do to get moving with the money and execute the plan you hear us talking about here every day here. There's a free trial. Jump into Ramsey Plus for a free trial by going to DaveRamsey.com/reset. DaveRamsey.com/reset. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman is with me as my co-host today. Kevin is in Austin, Texas. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
All right. My question may be more for Ken. I just got your book, The Proximity Principle, and I'm starting to read through it. I'm about 2 chapters in, and it feels like this book is geared toward providing help for people who know where they want to be, what they want to do, but don't know how to get there. So I'm in a little bit of a predicament because I'm not entirely sure what I want to be, where I want to go. And I'm struggling to find, I guess, that direction. So my question is, do you have any advice on how to soul search and figure out what I should be doing?
Yeah, well, there's a simple process that I teach in stage 1 of my 7 stages to meaningful work. It's called Get Clear, and you need to get clear. And what you do is you look for the clues with the 3 gifts that your Creator has given you: talent, passion, and mission. And I define those as talent. You know what that means. It's simply what you do best. And I'm not talking about your 5s and 6s. I mean your 7, 8s, and 9s as you look at your soft skills and hard skills. And passion is defined as work you love. These are tasks, functions, a role that you enjoy engaging in. And then mission is the results of that work that has a deep connection to your heart. Now, we don't have time to walk through all of that. I've got a great career clarity guide that is a free resource for you that I want you to walk through. And I ask all the questions in this guide. It's free at kencoleman.com. But let's try to fast forward, because when somebody like you talks to me and says, I'm not completely sure, that means you've got some ideas. I want you to tell me what you've wondered about, like almost like a child, childlike wonder. What would it be like if I did this for work? What is something you've dreamed about or wondered about?
I feel like I have an acumen for leadership and for people.
Okay.
I'll tell you, my dad's a pastor, and so I've had the thought often of what would it look like for me to go into ministry.
Why haven't you pursued that? There's something that has held you back. What is it? Name it as clear and as plain as you can.
Hesitancy to maybe what other people think. I don't know. He did it because his dad did it. I don't know.
All right, so let me ask you a question. So my dad's a pastor too, just retired actually last year from 47 years in the ministry. So that's my whole life, and I married a preacher's daughter as well. I believe that if you can keep from being a pastor, you should. That's what my dad told me, because I was the pastor's kid. I loved to speak. I loved to communicate. I was always on a stage. And now I've gone into public communication as my work. But my dad said, son, he said, if you can keep from it. And what he was saying was the call to ministry is clearly a spiritual call. I believe all work is honorable and of the Lord. But he said, if you can keep from it, keep from it. But what I've heard from you is you're worried about what other people are going to say because your dad's a pastor. So the question is, if we removed all of that, do you believe at this point in your life, Kevin, as honestly as you can be right now, do you believe that you were called to ministry? Forget about being a senior pastor or what the role is, just ministry as it relates to a profession. Do you believe you're called to that?
No. I don't think so.
Okay, then I want to release you from that. And so the reality is, as we look at the
what was it about it that was appealing to you? And maybe that, like Ken, like he this stage and public communication, but not pastoring. Right. So that could have been, he could have confused those two.
I think the part that was appealing to me was the, how you help people, and obviously we're called to personal evangelism. I mean, what greater way than
all of us are that.
Well, you gave us a clue. You want to lead people, but you don't have to lead them in a ministry context. Why do you want to lead people? If let's just say that I just snap my fingers and I put you in a leadership position today, okay, and you couldn't fail, why do you want to lead people? What's the why? In one sentence, say it from your heart.
Oh, man. To help people, to get us where we need to go, to establish a vision and to take us there, to accomplish great things.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Where would you, let's just have some fun, and I don't want you to get hung up on the specifics, but I want you to just think, if you could lead a team of people to produce results anywhere, any sector, anywhere in the world, what kind of results do you want to lead a team to produce? Because this is at the heart of this. What results do you want to produce in the world? And you're leading a team to make those results a reality.
Ken, I'm struggling. I don't know.
All right, it's okay. Here's the deal. It's okay. You're on the doorstep. But here's what I want you to wrestle with 3 questions, okay? And then I want you, if you want to, I want you to call back my show, The Ken Coleman Show, all right? And you can call between 12 and 2 Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. We'll get you through. I want you to answer these 3 questions that are in the Career Clarity Guide that's free, that I want you to download at kencoleman.com. I want you to really focus on mission, and you answer these questions. Who are the people I most want to help? What's the problem I most want to solve? And what are the solutions to those problems that I want to be a part of? See, leadership is service. Leadership is leading a team. in a bigger organization to solve a problem that's way bigger than us as the leader. And I will tell you that some other advice, I want you to answer those questions, and you'll begin to see, I want to create these results in the marketplace. And once we determine the results we want to create in the marketplace, we find organizations that are doing that, and we say, do they align with our values? And then I want to get in, because here's the key. And young people, hear me, that you want to lead, you cannot lead until you learn how to follow. I want you to get in an organization and work and be a follower and be a team player and study leadership. Read EntreLeadership, Dave's #1 best-selling book. Listen to the EntreLeadership podcast, a world-class podcast from Ramsey Solutions. Read leadership books. Read John Maxwell. I used to work for John. He was a mentor of mine. Read the 360-Degree Leader. Consume leadership books, watch great leaders, emulate them, and then you keep following. And then if you keep doing a great job, you'll get promoted eventually into the opportunity to lead. But as far as where to lead, just go find an organization that is producing results that matter to you in the marketplace. Don't overthink it.
Yeah. So, Kelly, when he picks up, get the phone number for Madison, Ken's producer, so they can do a follow-up call on Ken's show.
Yeah, I'd like to call after he's done his homework.
She'll pick up and get that appointment set for him.
That career clarity guide, Dave, for folks that are listening, it walks them through that talent, passion, mission exercise, and they're not under pressure on the air.
Yeah,
then
it's
they can call
hard
me.
to do it on the air.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you think with Kevin, if something that people tell him he's good at, or that he knows he's good at, you call that a talent.
Yes.
Does that give him a hint or a clue what the thing he's going to lead into might be?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what we want to see is if he wants to lead, we then check it and we say, do I have the skills of communication, connecting with others? Do I have empathy? Do I have the raw talent to actually be a leader?
If you're a young person and you have a desire to be a leader, make sure that your desire to be a leader is just that you don't want to be a leader simply to avoid being a follower.
That's right. It's not about authority; it's about influence.
Yeah,
that would be what you wrestle with.
Because it's a privilege. It's a weight.
Yes.
It is not a
heavy stuff.
It's you got to look at your motive on that. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices. And they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. #1 best-selling author, radio host, and Ramsey personality Ken Coleman is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Alan is in Ogden, Utah. Hey, Alan, how are you? I'm pretty good. I'm having trouble hearing you. Try again.
So my fiance is having trouble getting on board with the idea of following the baby steps and living the Dave life. I've been listening to you guys for probably about 2 years now, and I'm for the idea, but it's really hard to get going on it if you don't have a partner who's on board with you. Mm-hmm. Help me help her understand what you're trying to sell.
Okay, what is her problem with this idea?
Well, she heard one podcast you guys did where this guy had that you sold him to sell it and buy something else because it was sinking him. And I personally saw the logic in what you said, But what she didn't understand is why you told him to ramp it up to $9,000 rather than keep it down at the like $3,000 or $5,000 that he was going to spend.
That's not her problem.
And that's what I tried to tell her.
No, that's not. What she heard on a podcast is not the problem. She was looking for an excuse to not do this stuff when she's listening to the podcast. So she found some little nuanced, nothing detail that doesn't even matter to have a reason to throw
that's right.
out
That was
the idea of dealing
evidence
with
that
this.
Dave is cuckoo, so we can't do this.
Yeah. And there's plenty of evidence that Dave is cuckoo. It's fairly abundant. Not hard to find that if you're looking for it.
We provide it daily.
Yes, we do. It's here. It's 15,000 hours of it in the last few years. But it's all on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of reasons to. And it's not a matter of me as It's not a personal thing in the sense of, ooh, she doesn't like me. That's not the issue. The question is that you guys the two of you have got to sit down and say, okay, what are our goals with money as a couple, and what is the best method to get us to those goals?
See, and I love her to death, but I keep living in debt, and I can't keep living paycheck to paycheck wondering if we're going to have a house.
That wasn't what I said. You're not living in debt anyway because you're not married. It's her problem if you leave her with it. If you get married, now it's your problem. So as a precursor to getting married, the two of you need to set a date after you've gotten some good pre-marriage counseling, which it sounds like you desperately need. And after you've sat down and said, okay, how old are you guys?
We are 30 and 31.
Okay. When you say, when we're 55 years old, where do we want to be with our money, and what is the best method to get there? And you both then answer that question, and you say, hey, I'd like to be out of debt and be very wealthy and be able to be very generous and be able to travel and be able to buy something and not have to worry about it. And this is what you would say, right? And then she can say whatever she wants to say. And you say, okay, what is the best way to get to this dream? And let's make sure our dreams are combined before we combine our lives.
Yep. Alan, I'm going to weigh in here. I want to go a little deeper. Do you both have debt individually?
Yes. She has about $12,000 worth of medical debt, and I have about $1,000 worth of consumer debt.
Okay, well,
on a budget of about $20,000 a year.
Okay,
but listen, here's the thing: if when you sit down with a marriage counselor in pre-marriage counseling, and you say, "What do you want to be when we're 55?" and she says, "Oh, I don't know. I just don't want anybody telling me what to do." Dude, you're not marrying a woman. You're marrying a princess, and you need to run.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, Alan. I want to know why she's resisting. You need to know what her resistance is to Dave's thing, and you can have it in the same conversation. And then I'd want to know the why before you go down the aisle, because there's something that she's resisting in what you're telling her, and you're telling her how we teach, and it gets you where I would assume she would agree with the vision that you would want. And so this is so serious, Alan, that, I mean, to me, I'd press pause on the engagement. I'd press pause on everything until you guys got on the same page about this.
You do it. No, I wouldn't do that. I would just get with a marriage counselor, a pre-marriage counselor immediately, and you guys begin to talk this through.
But what happens if that doesn't
may
work?
lead you to pressing pause.
That's what I'm saying.
You need to, but I don't want to just break them up. That's
I don't mean that.
I think you need to go and
I don't mean that.
Sit down there and sit down and try to work that through, let's figure out what we're doing. But if at the end of the day, I have been in situations when I'm coaching couples, and one or the other of them is like pounding their fist, demanding that no limitations be put on them in any way.
Yeah.
And that they're allowed to do whatever they want to do, and they're not accountable for the future. Mm-hmm. They're not accountable to themselves, much less their future spouse, about how we're going to end up. Then what you've got there is someone throwing a temper fit. You got a 4-year-old throwing a temper fit on the cereal aisle because they can't get Cheerios, and this is not marriage material.
No.
And so the old joke is if a guy marries a girl who loves spending money, you better enjoy making money. But that's not true. It doesn't work that way. It
doesn't.
You can't make enough you can't out-earn somebody who's a super spender.
Yeah, you're playing the
before there were super spreaders, there were super spenders. So
yeah, right.
But and I don't think this is what's going on with her. I think there's something else. I really don't think she's a bad egg.
I don't either. That's why I want to know what's the resistance and why. I want to know the why.
And it could be too,
misinformation.
Alan. It could be too that you have used me as a weapon on her. And turned me into a cuss word, and you've jammed up, you've stopped up this conversation, and constipated it. And so you may have to just back away from the Dave thing, because Dave's not relevant in this discussion. The two of you being on the same page about a method of some kind to get to where you want to be, and being on the same page on where you want to be. Now that's vital.
Huge. I'm just going to say it, Dave. I mean, you can correct me if you think it's too strong. I'm just coming from the position of watching couples, and if you aren't on the same page about money, you're playing the marriage lottery. And
you're playing Russian roulette.
And the odds are so against you.
Number one cause of divorce.
Of course. And it's
money fights and money problems. So if you can't get on the same page about money ahead of marriage, don't get married.
Yeah, and it's going to hurt.
I don't think that's too strong.
Okay.
But I mean, the number one people die of a bear attack is walking down the street. Don't walk down that street. You know, I mean, it's really common sense, you know?
That's a good point.
So, the bears are on that street. They will kill your butt. You know, I mean, it's just like, this is not hard.
Yeah.
And so, stay off of that. And I saw a statistic the other day that like 37% of the current divorces also mention a spouse looking up an old boyfriend or girlfriend on Facebook.
Oh, boy.
So the second leading cause of divorce is Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm good with getting rid of that, too.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, what could have been? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing going back? I mean, come on now. Yeah.
You just want to be satisfied. That's all. Then you just go, look at that.
That's another problem.
He lost all his hair. Look at that.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
But anyway, yeah, so all kidding aside, Alan, it's imperative. If you were my son or daughter, I would tell you it's imperative to be on the same page on religion, money, in-laws, and kids.
Yes.
With the help of a pre-marriage counselor before you get married. There's all kinds of data and research that shows those four things are your leading indicators to a fabulous, fabulous marriage.
One other little nugget, Dave, because I can't help it. Alan, if you do premarital counseling and she won't give in, don't you give in. Don't you do money the way you don't want to do it just to try to make her happy. That ain't going to work either. Don't capitulate.
Yeah, we got to come to agreement, not concession.
That's what I wanted to point out.
This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day is Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. Simon Sinek says, a leader must be inspired by the people before a leader can inspire the people. You know, that's coming out of Simon right now. We're seeing that out of Pat Lencioni, and we're Pat's new book, The Mdiv. We're seeing it in the materials that we're putting in Entree Leadership right now. There seems to be something in the air to remind people that leadership is not a position with a corner office and a big paycheck that you aspire to. It is a duty It is a responsibility. And sometimes it comes with a paycheck and a corner office. But if you're aspiring to the corner office without the duty and without the responsibility, you're not going to end up being a leader. You're just going to be another one of these twerps.
You'll be an achiever. Big difference.
You'll be somebody worried about optics instead of principles.
That's right. Leadership is a conviction, because as a leader, a true leader, you begin to understand, wait a second, I've got a position of authority, and in some cases the highest level of authority in where you're leading, and yet it has nothing to do with authority. It has everything to do with you serving, with you humbling yourself and leading the team, diving into the problems, taking the bullets, protecting, guiding, coaching, correcting. It's a conviction. You must understand.
Well, there's too much heat that goes with leadership. There's too much conflict and criticism that goes with leadership. Unless you are doing it as an act of service, you'll quit or you'll acquiesce, and you just fall in and you go, well, I just got it. I'm worried about the way this looks.
Yeah.
Rather than doing the right thing.
That's exactly right.
What's the right thing?
Yeah.
You got to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're the only one with all the details. You got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Not what some little pissant says off to the side somewhere.
Yeah.
You're called to the responsibility of being the people in that room have the information. And you got to make the decision then, and knowing that when you make it, that you're going to piss people off.
Yeah.
And making the principled call instead of the call that makes people happy and looks the way it should look.
One of my favorite images of leadership is from the movie We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson, where he says, I'm the first one off a helicopter and I'm the last one on. And that's a beautiful picture of what leadership is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. When the bullets are flying.
Yeah, you don't leave the battlefield of the foxhole because you've been shot at. No, there's no retreat. I've got men that are relying on my leadership in this moment. That's leadership, and you better have a conviction for it. You better care about the mission. You better care about the people, or you will not make it. You will not.
If I remember, that was a true battle. That was represented in that movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it really happened.
Vietnam, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I know Vietnam happened, but I'm just saying that particular.
Yeah, I can't remember that
particular storyline was based on a true story, if I remember.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But the military brings that out too. Some of the most honorable servant leaders I've ever met in my life are senior military officers. There's a nobility on a military officer that's a good one. Some of them are jerks, and some of them are self-centered, just like any group of leaders. Or sometimes you run into a twerp. But when we're on these major installations, these major bases, and we're speaking to the military teams and helping their people, and you walk in and you're meeting a 2-star or a colonel or whatever the senior officer is in that setting, you almost always meet someone that there's a sense of calm, deliberate, noble leadership. And it's a sense of responsibility.
Yes.
Not a sense of, I got the big job.
That's it. You just nailed it. And I'm not trying to be cheesy here. It just came to me. It's about the mission, not recognition.
Ooh.
Leadership.
You are cheesy, but that's good.
Well, I know you don't like it when I rhyme, but I can't help it sometimes. I never made it as a rapper.
Kid,
that's what it is. But really, that's it. Like you said, Dave, it's about the mission, and all those military leaders, they're always about the mission. It's not about their personal gain. It's not about their authority, their ego, and so again, it's a great quote from Simon there, because it's like, look, you got to be inspired by the people that you're leading, by what they're doing, the results they're trying to drive. Only then can you actually inspire them.
Yeah, Simon's second book was Leaders Eat Last.
Yeah, great military context throughout the entire
title.
thing.
Yeah, great title on that too. So, real leaders eat last, or leaders eat last.
I think I'm going to watch We Were Soldiers tonight. It's been a long time since I've seen it. It just popped into my head. Such a great movie.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go with Elise in Detroit, Michigan is up next. Hi, Elise. How are you?
Hi, Dave and Ken. How are you guys?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So I have a question. It's probably multifaceted, but long story short, my spouse and I are debt-free. We've got 6 months of emergency fund savings, and we have a pretty good amount saved for a house, and we're saving towards retirement.
Great.
Yep. So I'm in the military, so I appreciated everything that you were just saying.
You agree with me?
I'm in the military. Yes, I agree, and I appreciated everything that you were just talking about.
So your senior officers, or if you're a senior officer, you run into some really high-class people there?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yes.
So what's your question?
Oh, thank you. The question is so I'm actually going to be getting out either in next summer or the summer after, and once my income is gone, we probably won't be able to be saving any money just on my spouse's income because I'd like to be a stay-at-home. So the question is, we're unsure if we should purchase a house now with what we do have towards an income or for a house, or if we should wait until later or have me try to stay in longer for 4 years in order to save up more for a house, since we won't have any
You're not planning on working after the military?
We have a son who's about 8 months old, and we would really like for me to be able to stay at home with him.
Okay, but can you buy a home if you're staying home with him? Can you guys afford a home on your husband's income?
Well, we would be able to have a lot to put down toward the house, and we'd be able to pay off like the mortgage, but we wouldn't be able to have any wiggle room of money. So we're unsure if that's a wise thing to do or not.
A wiggle room. If you pay off the house, why do you not have wiggle room? What's your husband make?
So his current income after tax is $36,000.
What's he do?
He works in supply chain.
Okay. All right. How old are you guys?
We are 23.
Okay. No rush to buy a house. I would say during the time that you're planning on offloading your military career, let's work on his career. And let's say, what has to be true 5 years from today for him to be making $75,000 instead of $36,000?
Right.
What's he going to be doing with his life that makes a whole lot more money than he makes now? There's no shame in making $36,000, especially if you're 23 years old. But I don't want him to be 32 and making $36,000 and still wondering why you can't afford a house. So the point of that is that as his income trajectory changes due to we're really focusing on his career path using some of Ken Coleman's materials, then that changes the answer on the house.
Yep.
So you don't have to be in a big hurry on the house, but we just are going to do it the right way. And you can be able to stay home with the baby. Let's get his career going, and then let's get a house in the right order. But if you project $36,000 out for 10 years, then your question, the way you framed your question makes sense, but that's not the right way to do it.
Yeah.
So good question. Thank you for joining us. Ken, thanks for hanging out today.
Thanks, Dave. Always fun.
Ken Coleman, The Ken Coleman Show, everywhere great radio shows are heard.
Yes.
James Childs is our producer. Kelly Daniel is our associate producer and phone screener. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.